So Germany had 78% possession.
Wow.
Yeah. They completed something like 600 more passes than their opponents. And they didn't make a single structural error in their defensive third for 80 straight minutes.
And
yet, the four-time world champions are packing their bags. The definitive underdog, Paraguay, is marching on. Welcome to our deep dive, everyone.
it's just wild.
It really is. We've got a whole stack of match reports and tactical breakdowns in front of us today, and our mission for you is to unpack exactly how Paraguay pulled off, one of the most shocking round of 32 upsets in FIFA World Cup history.
It completely flipped the script, honestly, because when you look at the raw data, Germany did exactly what you expect a traditional Goliath to do,
Right.
They controlled the tempo, they generated several really dangerous opportunities.
Well, let's unpack this a bit, because going into this match, the framing for you listening was basically a medieval siege.
Oh, totally.
It was this massive German battering ram just repeatedly hitting a Paraguayan fortress. I kept wondering, how does an underdog actually prepare for that kind of relentless psychological pressure without just completely crumbling?
Well, what's really fascinating here is that Paraguay didn't just, pack the penalty box and cross their fingers.
Right.
The sources show they deployed this incredibly rigid 5-4-1 low block. They deliberately surrendered the wide areas to Germany, but completely choked off the central passing lanes. So the mechanism was actually pretty simple. They forced Germany's central midfielders into hitting these really harmless, predictable crosses.
So they were essentially just letting Germany have the ball in areas where it, couldn't actually hurt them.
Exactly, which requires immense defensive discipline. Germany dominated the ball, sure, but Paraguay frustrated them at every single turn just by maintaining that shape.
I do have to challenge this whole perfect defense narrative, though.
Okay, lay it on me.
Looking at these reports, Germany actually hit the post twice in the second half.
They did, yeah.
And just surviving wave after wave of attacks doesn't actually win you a soccer match. A strong fortress is great, but if you just sit inside it all day, the best you're getting is a 0-0 draw and maybe some luck and penalty kick.
That's very true.
So was Paraguay really that tactically brilliant, or did they just get incredibly lucky that Germany's strikers were having an off day?
It's a totally fair point. But this is exactly where Paraguay's strategy goes from mere survival to actual tactical brilliance.
Okay.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, their defensive shape wasn't just a static wall, it was a coiled spring.
Oh, I like that. A coiled spring.
Yeah. They absorbed the energy of Germany's possession, specifically waiting for the exact moment Germany overcommitted their fullbacks.
So they weren't just passively waiting for a tiny mistake. They were actively engineering a counterattack trigger.
Exactly. Because when you're playing without the ball for most of the game, you might only get one transitional moment.
Right.
The tactical intelligence highlighted in these sources is that Paraguay didn't force it early. They remained incredibly patient.
Which has to be so hard to do.
Oh, absolutely. But when Germany finally pushed too high, that central passing lane opened up and Paraguay snapped that spring.
See, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Because it's one thing to get that transitional chance, but it's another thing entirely to have the legs to actually bury it when you've been exhausted playing a 5-4-1 low block all afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
But the sources note they delivered a perfectly clinical finish.
That finish is fueled by a very specific kind of mental fortitude. They bought completely into their system, they trusted that the trigger would eventually appear, and, when the decisive moment arrived, they just executed flawlessly.
So what does this all mean for these two squads right now? Because the contrast is just staggering.
It really is night and day.
Germany goes home to dissect a deeply disappointing premature exit for a squad that carried massive expectations.
It's a harsh reality check for a traditional powerhouse, that's for sure.
Right.
And meanwhile, Paraguay marches into the next round riding this absolute tsunami of confidence and momentum.
So the core takeaway here for you listening is that while passion, teamwork, and, absolute belief are essential for an underdog,
right,
channeling that belief into ruthless positional discipline is what actually slays a Goliath.
Right. A well-organized, coiled spring really can break the battering ram.
Exactly.
Paraguay is certainly hoping to build on this momentum, obviously, but this actually raises an important question going forward in the tournament.
Oh, what's that?
Well, in these knockout brackets, does the massive emotional peak of slaying a giant give an underdog the limitless fuel they need to go all the way?
Right.
Or does expending all that mental and physical energy inevitably lead to an emotional hangover in the very next round?
Wow, yeah. That is the perfect question to leave you with today. When you've just taken down a four-time champion, do you become unstoppable or are you just too exhausted to lift the slingshot again?
Something to think about.
Definitely something for you to ponder as the World Cup rolls on. Catch you next time.